Stand by for audio.
Here we go.
Walk 97.5 is bringing you the best from coast to coast. On the East Coast with Christina K.
Every afternoon she's on in my car.
You're the best at what you do. I mean that sincerely from the heart. You have a great personality, you have a great voice, and you have a great heart. I mean that. You really do, honey.
Thank you
really
so much. How much are they paying you to say that?
No, shut up.
To the West Coast with Kevin Covais.
Who has a Kevin Covais sign up there?
The Kevin signs. There we go.
Easter, there's one up here in the front.
Chicken Little from American Idol. I love him.
He's just so cute. You just want to take him home. You just want to pinch his cheek.
K and Kev starts now.
Season 2, Episode 2, we are back. It is Christina K and Kevin Covais. If you don't know who we are, well, you might want to go back and listen to Episode 1.
Yes.
We barely know who we are some days.
It's a good place to start Episode 1, leading into 2.
Yeah, but even if you haven't, I think you'll see what we talk about here. And I'm actually going to start off kind of blowing Kevin's mind a little bit.
How so?
Something we've talked about for the past, ever since we've been doing this podcast, ever since our friendship's been a thing. Kevin will talk about sports, and I'm like,
all the time. I love sports.
I have been for like the past little bit now getting into football.
Get out of here! What?
I know.
Like you know how it works.
Trying.
You know how the game is played.
I'm trying. I still don't know everything, and
I'll
be honest. During the Super Bowl, I had to text someone questions because I was still like not following 100%.
Okay.
But it's so much more exciting than I thought it was going to be. Minus the Super Bowl game. That was a little.
Wow, I know. We have to touch on the Super Bowl. I know we're a week past it, but that was not very eventful.
Weird.
It was a disappointing game because you had this epic showdown. You had this, Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. Mahomes, the greatest quarterback right now living. And then we get this complete dud of a game.
I know.
Tom Brady, in typical frickin' Tom Brady fashion, goes out and wins his millionth Super Bowl. Makes me angry. I'm a Jets fan, ladies and gentlemen. Proud Jets fan, even though they're terrible. So I hate this guy. I hate Brady. I envy him. Yes, and they win again. And they kill him. They beat him. It was ridiculous.
But it was just like the whole, I don't know, like tone of the whole the game, the commercials, the halftime show. It was very like, I don't know.
Yeah. It was all pretty forgettable. We got to touch on this halftime show. The Weeknd, I felt different about it in the moment than I do now. I think looking back, I really do appreciate what he did. But
yeah, the artistry and stuff. Yeah,
the artistry of it. Yeah, it was a real I'm not a big art guy, like going and appreciating a fine piece of art. That's not really my thing. I'm a simple man, okay, Christina. But looking back on it, to be on his own and to have to do it on his own, I think he did a pretty good job. All things considered, it wasn't the most exciting performance. The man has a catalog. Let's recognize the week.
Hit after hit after hit.
Banger after banger, and then you end with Blinding Lights, which that song is like played to death. I still love it. I hear it now and I'm like, ooh, I'm blinded by the light. I get in it. I think he did a great job. I really do. I was disappointed. They said the week leading up to it that there would be no surprise performers with him. I thought that was to throw us off the trail. Maybe that there would be some.
No.
But I know, but during this time you can't do it. And I realized it wasn't going to happen. But I think all things considered, he did a pretty good job.
So here's my thing, and it might be an unpopular opinion. And guys, I have those every once in a while.
Okay.
Last year, the halftime show with J-Lo, Shakira was visually like, everyone was like, wow, wow, wow. Vocally, to me, I was like, it didn't impress me.
Wow.
The Weeknd vocally impressed me so much more than that show. Granted, you have two different very kinds of shows going on, but I liked it better. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I liked it better than last year's halftime show.
That's not that unpopular. I appreciate what J-Lo and Shakira did from an entertainment standpoint. Vocally, I've never been a fan of either of those performers vocally. Whereas the Weeknd, obviously, I've been listening to the Weeknd from the start, and the guy has an amazing voice vocally. It's a masterclass at times. He's very talented. So I think what J-Lo and Shakira did was great. I don't think that's that crazy of an opinion, though. I understand it might not be the opinion of the majority, but I'm on board with it. I think I liked it a little bit better than last year as well. I'd say,
Yes. Okay. We're on the
I
same
don't know.
page.
I mean,
love it.
Shakira did look pretty good. I mean, let's be real. You know, those are gorgeous women performing, but still, you know, all things considered.
You kind of can't, you can't compare The Weeknd and J-Lo. You can't, but
No, I mean, I'm not
why
going
I'm
to.
watching the halftime show personally, but
No.
so
Yeah.
it's actually a goal of mine to get more into like challenge myself, like open myself up to new things. And football is one of them because so many of like the people who are really close to me are really into football. And I want to see why, one, learn the game a little bit and like be able to talk to them about it. So it's actually been more exciting than I thought it would. And of course I do this at the end of the season, but
it's funny you say this to me. When I was home in New York over the holidays, I was watching with my mother, and she doesn't get into football, but she was like kind of getting into it. And it was the Jets, so there's nothing to get into. There's nothing exciting about it. But I'm like teaching her, I'm like, this is how 1st and 10, and you got 4 downs to get the ball. And she's like, and she didn't fall asleep. So I'm very proud of her that she stayed committed and into Yeah.
Hey, baby
You're
steps.
not the only one. You and Patty Covais getting very into the football these days. Yeah.
I'm trying. Next year, there's a new season, and hopefully there'll be a new Christina like focused on it. Something else that I've been
we'll
like
see if you're still
really
interested.
we'll see. Something else I've really wanted to do more of because when I'm out working, I just don't have the time to focus or just the time period. So something I wanted to do more of was read while I'm still working from home and have this time together. And Kevin, I've read a couple of books so far, but this one I felt the need to bring up because I feel like in a way you're involved in it. Let me explain.
Please
It's
do.
a book about The Office. This book is so fantastic. It came out the end of 2020. Untold stories about one of our favorite TV shows, The Office.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Kevin, you will fall even more in love with the show after you read this book.
Isn't that unbelievable? Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Probably the greatest situational comedy. I think it's surpassed Friends for me, and I love Friends. I'm a Friends like maniac.
Me too.
I can't get enough of The Office. I can't get enough of it. You still play Blinding Lights by the weekend, and I still enjoy it.
Exactly.
I can watch the same episode of The Office over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those shows, and it's a feel-good show. It puts you at ease, relaxes you. It's something to go to bed to. If you're having
exactly.
it's just it's such a great show. So tell me about this book. I got to hear more.
Well, I don't want to tell you too much because I do really think it's a great book, but there's so many things that even like the biggest of fans, even the actors on the show said they didn't know everything they learned from reading this book. And it's a lot of interviews and just behind the scenes stories and things that make you appreciate like where a line came from. Like Steve Carell wrote a whole episode you probably didn't even know. It's just so good. But why I really want to talk about this is not try to convince you to read it, but there's a whole chapter called Creed.
Oh my God.
Is a fantastic character on the show. And
Creed Bratton, ladies and gentlemen.
The backstory of bringing Creed and like making his character more and more is, I had no idea about it. But I wonder if you, Kevin Covais, did, because you actually worked with Creed while he was on The Office.
Yeah, we've touched on this on past K and Kev episodes and back in season 1, but I had the good fortune of being cast in a movie called Labor Pain starring Lindsay Lohan, who I think people know, she's a pretty big star. And got to work with her, and I got to work with a slew of like just wildly talented, pretty big names. Cheryl Hines, Enthusiasm, Tracy Ellis Ross, star of Blackish, Chris Parnell, who's like personally for me is one of my heroes from the Saturday Night Live days and is a phenomenal voice actor. And Creed Bratton had a role in this. And I didn't know who Creed was. I'm going to be honest with you. I get cast in this movie. We filmed it in 2008. And The Office started.
Which is the height of The Office, no? It's like season 5 or 6, maybe?
It was, I think it was season 3. The Office started like 05, 06. This is when the momentum started to build, because the first couple of seasons, and they talk about this, every time The Office they would leave for finish out a season, they all said goodbyes, like they might not be seeing each other again, like the show might get canceled because it took a minute for the show to pick up steam before it became the juggernaut that it is today and the phenomenon that it is today. So we filmed this movie. I don't really know who he is. He's hilarious. He has me in stitches. Well, I get to do a couple of scenes with him where I go get water for him or something. I don't even remember. I was just on cloud 9 the whole time. And he was so funny, this man. And I got to eat lunch with him one day. And the whole set was buzzing. They're like, man, have you seen him on that show? Have you seen that show, The Office? And I'm like, I haven't seen it. And right around the same time, my sister is calling me from New York. I'm new to LA. And she's like, Kevin, you got to watch the show. I love it. The Office, you're going to love it. So I start watching it after we filmed Labor Pains, and I've loved it ever since. Just like people out there, yeah.
So do you regret not like watching it while you were doing the movie, or is that kind of like a blessing in disguise, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing: if I'd watched it prior and been like prior to filming, I would have just like because I go crazy. Like I've worked with some big names. I'm very, very fortunate to have worked with some big stars in this industry. But if there's like a show that I like and like a supporting character that I like that I'm really fond of, I will geek out over meeting them more so than like the top sometimes. So I think if I'd worked with Creed after the fact, I would have been like probably a bit nervous. Like I didn't know who I was, so I was like, oh, he's cool and he's wildly funny and he's just like a random dude. And man, look, for those of you that haven't watched, everyone's watched The Office, but if you haven't watched, this guy steals every scene he's in, and he's in this show with top actors, obviously. But yeah, getting to work with him was such a treat. And I'd be really fascinated to read the book to learn more about his story, because we got to talk a little and exchange pleasantries, but you don't really hear the story of the struggle and on the way up.
Oh my gosh.
And the grind that it takes. And like the age that he was when he found that success.
I think he was like 66, he said, when he finally got this big break in The Office. And like just the way like Steve Carell and John Krasinski and everybody like brought him in and wanted him to like shine and everything. He said he was like crying, and everyone said he's just like the nicest guy. And I'm assuming working with him, you can agree.
He was amazing. Everyone on that crew was amazing. But yeah, I remember the things I remember most from that movie weren't even necessarily shooting the scenes. Like obviously I remember getting to work with Lindsay and we had a lot of scenes together, and that was a treat. That was a great deal of fun. But I think the most special moments are the in-between moments, the moments sitting down to lunch and getting to hear stories from Chris Parnell about Saturday Night Live and that experience, and getting to hear Creed Bratton talk about his life a little bit. And clearly I have more of an appreciation now, seeing his body of work and seeing what he does. But like, man, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah. And I was so spoiled. I was so spoiled working with that guy and working with all of them. Yeah.
I remember I had to hunt that film down on DVD because like me and my sister loved all those like really cheesy ABC Family, or even before that it was Fox Family. Yeah, those movies. So I wanted to get it for her. And she's always been such a big fan of you in American Idol. So like she wanted to see this film, and I wish I had it. She has it at her house, but I really want to go back and watch that movie again, because I've personally never seen Creed in something else other than The Office. That movie I've seen, obviously, but it's been such a long time that I want to like rewatch it now that I've read the book. Oh yeah, he's had little parts here and there, but yeah, that was fun. He did a great job and plays his typical quirky self, but definitely a different guy than Creed. Nobody is quirky and random than Creed on The Office. His character, not the real guy. But man, what a blast it was. Yeah, so much fun working with him. I wonder if it's still available, that DVD, because I feel like more people should watch this movie, because it's just, like you said, a level of talent in it that it's like... It was cute. I mean, definitely a silly premise, a wild premise, but we had a lot of fun doing it, and just the experience of getting... I wasn't even supposed to be in it, all these things happen, kind of on accident. Like, we talk about Creed just going and thinking he was going to be essentially like a featured background. Because shows will do that. You see people, you see some of the same people in the background on every episode, but they don't get, they're not getting lines. So they heard this guy speak and he had something to say and stole the scenes. And they're like, wow, we have to write more for this guy. That's the special part about these experiences, is that when he started that, there's no way he could have envisioned it turning out to be what it did. You know what I mean? That's the coolest part. I think. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen The Office, do yourself a favor. Watch it while you have some extra time. If you have seen The Office, do yourself a favor. This book is amazing. I think it's like on Amazon, Target. It is. I highly recommend, Kevin. I highly recommend. And if you have some extra time, go see Labor Pains with Kevin Covais, because if you have a lot of time, if you have like some really extra time, go find Labor Pains somewhere. Gem of a 2009 ABC Family movie, but we had a lot of fun doing it. Are you watching WandaVision, Kevin? Can I bring it up? Can I? Dare I ask? You can absolutely bring it up. I have not watched it. Of course. You know what? That's not very nice. Okay, I resent that. There's a lot of great television to watch. There is. But you know what? I just stole my sister's Disney Plus, account login, so I got a lot to catch. I hear. So what do you hear about this? It is so good.
I hear it's a slow burn though, and you can confirm that for me. I hear that out of the gate, it's all right.
Yeah.
Right, but this is why people need that patience when it comes to these series. We're such an, kind of like an ADD society now. If we're not like instantly stimulated, we move on to the next big thing. But like people said, first couple episodes, okay. And then they said like episodes 4, 5 episodes are out of control, like amazing. Yeah, I can watch it.
So good. So I'm not going to give any spoilers because you haven't seen it, and I'm sure other people haven't seen it.
No.
But I wanted to watch it so bad because we didn't have anything Marvel last year, and you and I are both huge Marvel fans. So I was like, I want to see how they're going to do this after Endgame. They're going to start with this series. Why Wanda and why Vision? Because isn't he dead? What happened?
That was weird to me too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm trusting in Marvel though, because they have provided over 10 years of amazing entertainment for us. And this series of films and stories that is just so addicting almost, dare I say. So I was really intrigued to see what they're going to do with the TV show. Sure. And because it's 9 episodes, they had so much more time than if it was an hour, well, not an hour and a half, but a 2-hour, 3-hour movie, as most Marvel movies are.
Yeah.
So to see them stretch it out and tell this story has been so fascinating. And every week it's like the perfect amount, because you're like, where are they going with this? What does this Easter egg mean? What is, and like some things you have like severe questions for, like why are they doing that? But also at the same time, it's just so Marvel and consistent with other things I feel that Marvel has done. And I'm really intrigued to see how they're going to arc it into, because apparently it's supposed to lead into Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and the movies we love. And maybe, who knows, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. Who knows where this is going to end, because we're only up to we just finished episode 6, I think, 5 or 6.
And
so
they only have like 8 or 9 episodes, right? It's very
9, yeah.
Yeah, God. I hate that they do that. I understand why they do that, because let's be honest, these are massive productions. Even though it's a television show versus the film, these are, little, it's still so much work goes into these. So I
and so many like
the 9, 10 episodes.
Involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's kind of the scary part of taking characters from these film adaptations and giving them a series, because it is a little scary. Like, how are you going to flesh this out? But that also, like you said, that leads to the of how are we going to flesh this out? Like, we have room to play now. We have room to, you could start out a little slow and introduce the story, like tell the story the way you want to tell it before the fireworks. Not every episode, when you create a show, not every episode is going to be bang, boom, like tons of stuff going down. It just can't be from like a storyteller standpoint. So I'm excited. Personally, getting to see Winter Soldier, getting to see that series. I think I'm a bit more excited about that than WandaVision necessarily.
Oh, me too.
But each series is pretty exciting. So yeah,
but I feel like this may be like most Marvel movies, where you almost have to eventually watch them all to understand more, because even though they're standalones, they reference other things, and I think they kind of tie into this universe together. I don't know how it's going to tie into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I feel like it's all post Endgame now. So.
Well, and
maybe they'll tie in somehow.
And that's the struggle, right? Like they have so many movies in this universe. It's gotten to the point now where some of the storytelling on television is so good that have you watched a show where you're like, one thing doesn't lead to another, or something? There'll be like a random occurrence, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. Like, they wouldn't have done that on this show, like on
right.
Because there are certain shows where it doesn't work. So when you see product like Marvel, where it works where pretty seamlessly, and they'll reference back to past films, it's like, that's not easy to do. So when the writers pull that off, it's pretty exciting. I think it's fun for me as like a movie, a TV nerd. Sometimes it's fun.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things. Like, this franchise has grown up with us the past couple of years. Like, we've grown with it, so it's like a familiar friend. And for me personally, with everything that's going on these days, it's nice every week to have that to look forward to, because we didn't have that for the past year. So it's exciting. I highly recommend.
By episode 3, I will have watched some WandaVision. I will have watched the whole thing, but because this is what I'm doing. I'm ruining this great podcast that we have. No. We got to talk about this. Okay? So I'm going to watch it, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to analyze each and every scene by scene. No, we're not.
Don't even joke, because I totally am that person that will do that.
See, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that.
I would. I totally
You could do that. I'll just sit here and listen. I'm going to be here napping while you analyze each scene. No, I'm just kidding. But
it's one of the reasons I miss. It's one of the reasons I miss going into work so much, because so many of my coworkers are big Marvel fans, and we would sit there at my desk and just like analyze and analyze. A bunch of us would go and see all these movies together when they would release, because there's a big movie theater, you know, in the parking lot where I work. So we would just like walk over there after work, see the movie, and then have discussions. Our minds would be blown. And I'm just so excited that at least we have like a little bit of that right now.
Isn't that one of the maddening parts about COVID in these days, is that half of the fun of like watching your favorite show or watching a movie like that is going and like talking to your friends, talking to your coworkers.
Yeah.
And obviously you could still do it, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Doing it over Zoom as it is, you know, like being in person and going to see the movie and having the popcorn and all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Talking about, I've been inside the house too long and going stir crazy, Christina. I don't know.
Me too.
I'm going nuts.
I think the last movie I saw in theaters might have been with you, by the way. I think when we saw Knives Out, that might have been the last movie I saw.
We did see Knives Out. That's the last time I've been to it. I mean, I think that's the last time I've been to a theater.
Right?
Maybe I went once or twice early last year, but yeah. Oh, that was great fun.
That was a lot of fun. Simpler times. You know what's coming back? Because I think this is going to air after it premieres, but that's another thing very near and dear to both of us, American Idol, returning for season 100 and whatever.
Is that coming back for the 4,000 season? Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's exciting. How are they going to pull this off? How are they going to? I get it. Last season, I love Idol. It's my roots. It's my home and my family. It was tough last year. It's tough to pull that off. I give them great credit for attempting to do episodes of Idol as you and I are doing our podcast.
Oh,
because
it's rough.
It's rough, and it's tough to keep a viewer engaged. It's sad because I wanted to be more about. I wanted to enjoy it more, and part of me was like, man, I wish I could have just took a season off.
I know.
I don't know. It's tough. I don't ever want to speak ill of of a show that I have such great affection for, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they did their thing. They tried. And I know this year they're performing on stage again, right?
Yeah. So thank goodness, because I don't think any of us would have watched if it was another virtual Idol. That was very painful. And I think we had stopped watching. And my family, Idol is like the tradition that we watch. So it was a little rough. So I'm a little nervous about this season. But you know, they're being safe. They're going to be in front of the judges for the first, couple of episodes and hopefully going further. They say there's all these big twists and stuff. I'm afraid they're trying to make up for everything last year. So they're trying to do like more things that's probably going to end up taking away from it in hindsight. I don't know. I fear there's going to be, and maybe you agree, especially someone who was on the show, 15?
Yeah. I was on the show 400 years ago. Yeah. No, it wasn't that long.
Like 12, right?
It was 15
season 5.
Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy. Do you feel like it's going to run its course again? Because they brought it back. They revived it for ABC. They brought Bobby Bones in to kind of freshen things up. Do you think it's like almost time for it to like burn out again? Almost.
We're getting real here on this episode of K&K.
Season 2.
First off, what does Bobby Bones do? I'm not being a jerk. He seems like a really nice guy.
I don't know. He's a mentor. I don't know.
Bobby Jones is like Bobby Bones. I just said Bobby. I just got his name.
Bobby Jones.
I just said Bobby Jones. Bobby Bones, he has great hair, so that he's got that going for him. Listen, I think it's going to be tough to keep people engaged. I think even a show like, you think about the popularity of The Voice and shows like that, I just think people are always looking for the next big thing. I love that I was surprised when they came back when they did. And you and I started our podcast several years ago. And we went into it. We talked about seasons 1, seasons 2 of the ABC installment of and it's difficult. I'd like to think it'll keep going strong, but you got to shake it up. You got to do something new. And I don't know. I get a little worried for the show sometimes. But,
and you know what?
Yeah.
You're someone who was on the show. I auditioned for the show and did some work with the show, but like the show is like very near and dear to me too, just watching it all these years. And because of Idol, you were brought into my life and so many other people. So I feel like this attachment to the show, and because of it, I don't want it to like be something that people are tired of. So that's what I get nervous about.
Well, I don't, as a show like that, you don't want to stay around so long that people just like kind of grow to resent you. I mean, there are certain shows that are still on where I'm like, like The Bachelor, how is that still on? For me, I don't want.
Okay, here's the thing. I watch it to feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Do you?
Like the Kardashians. Yeah, I watch it. So I don't, so I feel like, oh, I'm a good person. Okay, yeah, yeah.
It's definitely like played out, but it's something that you're like, especially these days, there's not a lot of new happening. So you're like, I'll just put it on in the background. So maybe that might happen with Idol, but then maybe there'll be like a talent like there was a couple of years ago, Alejandro, and you're like, oh, right. This is why I'm staying. This is okay. So who knows? We haven't seen any of the auditions yet. Kevin and I will talk about it in the next couple of weeks. Maybe even bring some of our other friends from Idol. Don't want to drop any names, but maybe they'll be joining us for an episode or two. So you never know.
Oh, that would be very exciting. I would love to talk to some old friends just to see where they're at in life and see how they're. Yeah. I miss my Idol fam. It would be great to reconnect with some of them and bring a new aspect to the podcast. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yes. See, we're trying to make silver linings out of everything here. Something that we're changing up for the season 2 is the way Kevin and I end our podcast. So we've always ended with questions. It's a tradition. So normally I'll come up with a question for you. You'll come up with a question for me. But in some weeks, we want to spice it up and we want everyone else to get involved. We got some great questions at walkradio.com. People emailed me, Christina at walkradio.com. You guys can feel free to send your questions in. Also on YouTube in the comments below. And we got one, Kevin.
We did.
We got one from Gwen on YouTube, who Gwen is such a sweetheart. I love Gwen. She says, this is a great question. If you could replace someone in a movie musical, who would it be and why? Okay. Gwen for the win. I like that.
I'm going to be rude and go first because I know your answer is going to be like well thought out and fun. No.
Don't give me that much credit.
I'm going to give you my slightly generic answer, but just because the role means so much to me going back and one of my first Broadway shows that I ever saw, Mark and Rent. I
see that. Yes.
Yeah. I know. We may have even touched on this on past episodes, but I got to go in high school and I won the Broadway lottery there for the first row seats. And I got to bring, it was me and a girl I liked back in the day. We got to sit front row center and see Rent, and it was spectacular. And it was just like, and you just get all the feels, Christina. It's just such an amazing show and such amazing.
I know.
And it holds a special place in my heart, So, the show opened up in New York City in '96, I think. And then 2005 was when they did the film adaptation. And I went to go see the film, and I was in high school. I went to go see it with my friends, all my theater friends. We were in the play together, and we just had a blast. I was from Rent. I love that character. I kind of look like the character. I could pass for him, so let's go with Mark from Rent. Yeah.
I could so see you and hear you with some of those songs too, and I like it. So for me, this question was a little bit more difficult because my first instinct, and probably just about everyone who knows me even a little bit knows my answer would be Belle, Beauty and the Beast. Like that is like my dream role. I mean, I have a whole Belle shrine back here.
I mean, come on.
That is my girl. So like, of course that's my answer, but there's a character, I mean, in a musical that I just feel such a special connection to, and there hasn't been a movie of it yet. They've been teasing it for years, and that is Elphaba in Wicked. So I'm just saying, if they were gonna do the movie,
are they doing? I feel like they're doing a movie.
Tease it. They tease it all the time. But here's the thing that really bothers me. And although that would be a dream role, you cannot have that without Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. In my eyes, that's you can't do it without those two. So it would be a little hard for them these days to play college students. So I think they should kind of, as much as so many people would love to see it, I think they should kind of nip that idea in the bud. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I feel like they should have done it already, Christina.
A long time ago. It's been
and now with the launching of, I mean, I'm sorry, is Wicked Wicked's Disney affiliated? Is it not? No, you're right. It's not. Ooh. No. Sorry. It's not. Sorry to the mouse. You're the one to ask, by the way. Because I was going to say could they sell that to Disney Plus? Could they do that or no? Like, could that be? Because that just seems like the kind of thing that.
Well, I mean, they what?
And it goes to the streaming services. I think that would be a monster hit. Like in these COVID days. I don't know. I feel like this is something. I feel like the Wicked film should have happened like 5 years ago. I don't know how it hasn't happened already. And Well, if it hasn't filmed it yet, I would say give Christina K a call. But I'm biased. But yeah, do that.
I mean, here's the thing that. And I appreciate that. Here's the thing that they've been doing a lot of, and like you said, Disney Plus, they brought Hamilton to the big screen. They brought all these things, but they filmed the Broadway version. So at this point, could you then have Adina go back for one night and Kristen Chenoweth go back for one night just so they can film it? Because that's basically what they did for Hamilton. So
maybe. Who
knows?
That should have happened already. Why didn't the two of them film that already?
I know.
Why didn't they do a film adaptation? I would love to see that. I would love that. So those are our dreams. Two classics.
Put that out there. Just gonna put that out there. Although Maureen is like in my top 5 roles, so I could join you on Rent and be Maureen. So just put it out there.
Listen, you got Rent in your top 5 mix. We got Rent. We got Wicked. Well, we're hitting you with the Broadway classics here on K and Kev. That's what we do.
Boom. Thank you, Gwen, so much for your question.
Thank you, Gwen.
We look forward to reading some of your other comments and questions too. So make sure you guys hit us up. As always, there's so much more that we want to talk about, but we're running out of time. So thank you guys for watching, for joining us. And we would love to hear your questions. So in the comments below, we're trying to do this like every other week. So in 2 weeks, who knows what we'll have to talk about? Maybe WandaVision, like Kevin said.
Absolutely. And if there's a topic you all want us to kind of touch on too, feel free to drop a comment and let us know. That'd be cool.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes. All right. That's all we got. Kevin, be safe. Finish that Starbucks. I know you've been waiting to drink for the past 25 minutes. I
got my Starbucks. No, I've been drinking. I'm a professional over here. I'm gonna keep drinking.
Have you?
Yes. Well, I've been drinking a little. I've been sipping.
And we will talk to you guys for episode 3. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.